Guys, I'm going to preface this video with, I don't know what's up with the audio. I do sound good, but something's up and I just can't tell exactly what it is. But anyway, let's get into today's video. Today we're going to be talking about emotions and how I'm just going to get into it. This is going to be a very strange video, but I think by the end of the video, I think if you're able to understand what I'm saying and how it all ties together, I think I'm going to say some pretty good stuff. So pretty much I'm going to start with dealing with society as a whole. We start with our childhood. We go through a bunch of series of things, and a lot of things are thrown at us. And as we get older, those just only get compounded by daily life. And we aren't able to process a lot of the information. And what happens a lot of the time is people go, they can't deal with the stresses, and people always want to know, like, the whole phrase work on yourself. And what that really, what working on yourself really is processing information and processing emotions that you've gone through. Now, what I mean by that is people are anxious, grieving, depressed, and what's some other, I don't even know. I'm just worrisome. And these are all, now people think, see, this is also going to be about how people think and how people also don't understand others. We don't understand each other anymore. Everybody's in a state now where we just want to point and get mad at how somebody doesn't understand. And I'm going to try to understand. I'm going to try to get to the root of things. So when you have depression, you have anxiety, you have worry, grieving. That's not a now symptom. That's a past symptom. That's how something it manifested itself as depression. So it's a buildup of something to get to where you are. Now, what I'm saying is, I lost my sister when I was 12. I went through a very controlling period. I went through a very depressed period. And then I went through a very enlightened and spiritually free period where I was like, okay, I'm good now. And you know how I got there? I had to process every single emotion, every thought I've ever had. And when you have a backlog of emotions, information, it's going to create depression, anxiety, worry, doubt. And then who's there to help you with all that? Medication. I'm not saying medication isn't bad, but what I'm saying is that's only that's a devoid of a solution. It's not, that's an incentive. That's something to help you, to aid. It's not a fix. Now, I want to clear something. People may think I'm harsh on like mental illness, but I also was on pills. I went to the doctor and they were like, yeah, take this. And then what I found out is it just made me devoid of myself. It made me a shell of myself. So there was no real action on the problem. Okay, let's go to therapy. We're going to talk about the problem, but the therapist isn't going to help you all the way because we need you to come back. So let's break it down when you could just do it yourself. Now, people need to, now we're in this society where, like, you're not allowed to be truth. There's and this, so important I brought up the truth. Now, you can't be truthful to one another. I just was having a conversation with my friend. He gets on me and he'll say, hey, you're not doing this. You're not doing that. Yes, I get upset. Put me on blast. But do I get upset? Am I long-term mad? No, because I know he's right. I have to put my pride aside and say, no, this person's right. Because you know where it's coming from? It's coming from a better place. You have to be okay with accepting someone's truth if it's coming from a better place. Now, I'm going to tie that into everything by the end of the video. So hopefully, you keep staying with me. I know we're already 5 minutes in and I'm counting, you know how I talk. We talk in circles, but it all comes back. So we have all this information on process. We do all these routes, but nothing ever is fixed because we're not working on ourselves. We're not talking to ourselves. We don't want to be ourselves. We're looking up to people, strangers that don't impact our lives. We're trying to be so many different things. Like I just was saying, like, I never dreamed of being anybody. I never wanted to be anybody. I never wanted to be a dream job. I never wanted to be an athlete. I just wanted to be me. I wanted to figure me out. Even as a kid, I knew I was different. I've always known I was different. And knowing that I was different, I was like, well, I don't see anybody that's like me. I never saw anybody who was like me. And then when I did see someone that was like me, they said that that person was crazy. So then I grew up my whole life like, am I crazy? Yeah, I'm labeling myself as crazy. That did the job for them, and that's another issue is that we have is we conveniently label ourselves for the people, so then they can do the job for us. Okay, oh, you're labeled as crazy. Oh, perfect. I'm giving you pills, and then you can get away and you can get out of everybody's face, and then boom, one job. That's one person taken care of. Easy, simple solution. Oh, you already labeled yourself because nowadays doctors they don't even need to they don't even do the diagnosis themselves. They say, hey, what's wrong with you? Oh, I think I have anxiety. Cool. Takes a load off my plate. Here, take these pills. Boom, making money. Nobody's winning there. I mean, well, they are winning, but let's break it down. We create this system where let's now you can look at this from the conspiracy view and you can look at this from the regular person view. Now I'm going to break it down all as we go. You're going to see how this all ties in together. Let's go through school. Let's create a system where you sit down a person who's going through puberty and mind's racing and life is happening so many different, crazy ways. And let's make them sit down in a chair for 8 hours. Oh, they're not able to sit down in a chair for 8 hours. They have ADHD. That's what it is. Let's give them pills. Oh, wait, the pills are creating another issue? Well, here, this is another pill that will stop that from happening. So now you can view it as conspiracy where it's like, okay, well, they're making the child take pills. It's a conspiracy, like they made it so that the child will be on pills. Or you can look at the regular view like, hey, no, there's a problem. We fixed it. We found a solution. Now, move that on. Now, we move on into regular life. You're worried on trying to get a job, secure a future for yourself. You're anxious. No one wants to live in the present. Now, the present isn't, how do I explain the present? Where it's weird. If you're not able to live in the present, you deal with, which is what our society has created, where all the news outlets, everything in the media is created to stir a certain view in a sense of you need to plan for the future. And people are like, I don't know. I don't even know what my future is, but I have to plan for it. Doesn't that create a lot of worry? It's so broad. That's so blanketed. I need to plan for something that I don't understand and I don't know what will happen. I just got anxiety thinking about that. But I have to plan. I have to be ready for some moment that may never happen. Now, this is where I think goes into today's truth is when you're going through life and you're dealing with a bunch of scenarios that have happened to you. This is going to my original point is that's compounded to who you are. Your experiences make who you are. Now, when I look at a person, within 5-10 minutes, I can figure out exactly what happened to that person. Not exactly, but I can pin it down to this is probably what happened in this person's life for them to have this viewpoint on a certain topic. Does that make sense? Because we're in a state now where, for example, just politics, F you if you vote Trump. Now, why don't you take a look at the person and think, why did he get to the point of wanting to vote for Trump? Why can't, if you're really in it for the betterment of mankind and betterment of humans, why don't we look at how did you get to this point? If we can look at how we got to a point, talking is healing. If I'm able to figure out, that's why I hate when people say like trauma. People always talk about trauma bonding, and trauma bonding is an issue because it does make you think that, that person and you are one level, but it's a temporary thing. Everything's fleeting. And I think if we can tear down barriers of between each other with getting to understand the root of a lot of issues, because people don't want to get to the root. Because honestly, the root, I'm like realizing things as I'm talking, is the root is something where it's like, I'm going to get to it. I need to go through now. And I think that mindset, it's with everything. It's I'm gonna compartmentalize this. I know that's over there, but I'm gonna get to this later. And I think that's what keeps compounding. And that's what I said. And then it keeps compounding. It keeps compounding. And then it gets to today's climate where I don't even have time to understand you because I have so much repressed information in my own head. I have no time for new information. I just see something and I triggered. Boom, boom. You have all these worked through emotion, non worked through, sorry, unprocessed information, emotions that you've never worked through. So when news comes on, and which is this, that's originally why I meant to say news. You know, I would be everywhere. I'd be everywhere to talk. But think about it. Okay, now we're back on track. News happens, events happen, and they hit you. And you know why? It's because you never process your information. I know this is going to sound heartless in a way, but when you have two people on both sides, let's say Republican, Democrat, they see news story and they already have a side because of all their predetermined unprocessed information. So it makes them view this certain way. But when you have a person like me, who I've processed it all. I think I process too much. I process things as they're happening now. My brain works like that, where an incident happens, even an interaction happens. I process that interaction. I go, that was strange, and then I think, oh, well, why'd they say this? And then, oh, that person probably likes this, and then I go on and I go, okay, that person was interesting. But anyway, now you're at a place where you can't process that. So all these news things are triggering you. So do you have time to sit there and really go, I need to understand this person? No, I don't. Because you know why? This is now. I don't want to focus on the past. I can't focus on these thoughts. They hurt. But I can take my thoughts out on another person. Now, this is where I think creates the division in today's world, is because when you have a lot of it's sad to say, this is why I said this might sound hard. There's a lot of movements and a lot of things people are behind is from their own vanity. It's from their own hurt. It's because they never got through it and they never processed it. You know? So they think that whatever majority they can feel a part of, they can feel important, they can feel empowered, it's because people think like, oh wow, life is meaningless when they go through all these unprocessed emotions. But when you finally process them all and you get through it, you're like, wow, I'm on the other side. It feels like you died and you came out. And you're like, I'm on the other side. I feel good about myself. I made it through. I'm happy. But when people have unprocessed information, all they can do is they don't think about it. When people are very passionate about like politics and current topics, they can't really digest and give you valid reasons why. You know what they do? They just regurgitate what they saw because there's no room in their brain to process it. See how I bring it all back together? There's no room. They have no room to process what they're seeing. Everything in life is fresh to them. While people like me, there's plenty of people like me where they see and they take it all in, they digest it, and then they have no feelings towards it because they realize this is life. This is just how this is how it is. This is just, I'm accepting it. I've realized I'm a role. I am a part of this. This is why I say things happened to me when my sister passed. I said I'm glad I got to experience her. It's not about me. It's an experience. Things are like, you have to separate the you from things. And damn, I'm like bringing, you know, I gotta take a breather there, you know. It's just, it's saddening to see that a lot of people are doing things for the wrong reasons, and they're not really behind, they're not really fully involved, they're not really emotionally invested. It's the now invested to whatever to get past what they're going through. You can see it. Why do you like that? I don't know why I like that. It's somewhere in there reminds me. There's a past memory. There's a trigger in there, and that's what I'm trying to say with the sum of. I'm gonna sum of this video. It's about 50. It's gonna be about like 16 minutes. Is past emotions, past experiences are gonna accumulate and create the present. And when the present attacks you like it is now, you're not able to digest it. It's going to seem like it's coming in fast. It's going to seem like it's, whoa, what's going on? It's hitting me from all angles. It's not. It's just, you cannot process. There's no room. Your computer's like your brain's like a computer. It can only store so much. So, if you have no room to, It's going to be slow. It's going to be glitchy. You're going to feel bad. You're going to feel, ugh, like, I don't got any room. So you got to really look at life like that. Like, you have to go through it and realize life is a series of connections and experiences. But when you're so trying to be you, I'm not saying individuality is a bad thing, but when an individuality stems from a bad place, that's the issue. So, for example, mainstream has pushed individuality. But why did individuality come? Weird how I'm tying this all back to the beginning statement of what I said was, I never dreamed about being anybody. Because that creates individuality off of classism. I'm dreaming to be better than somebody. So I'm more important than somebody. So I'm shopping. That's all that is. Individuality, I'm not saying it isn't, but if it comes from the right place, let's say we do get to a utopia, individuality would be based up. You have a base to go off of now. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so, all right, prime example. So when individuality is a thing, which it is now, what is the base? Be famous, successful, because that's what everybody views as individuality and where it can take you to. Famous, rich, celebrity. That's what we view individuality as. Instead of viewing it as a group, a collective group of individuals who are inspiring change. That's where we can all work together and do something, but individually come together and keep pushing the envelope forward. That's not what individuality is. People assume that's what collectivism is, and they assume collectivism has a bad narrative because of humans, of our own narrative. Well, we're just gonna think it's bad. We're gonna like look at what's the dude, Kool-Aid, where he made kill everybody with the Kool-Aid. You know what you'll know what I'm saying. That's what they think of collectivism. They put in the narrative in the media that anybody who gets together for a group of things, it's a bad thing. Well, there's probably some good stories, but anyway, we can't name any because why would they show them? But what I'm trying to say is collectivism can be a good thing if it's involved individuality. If there's a good base to stand off of. Everybody has. We have no floor right now, and we're telling other people that your floor is wrong. Meanwhile, we're not even standing. We're standing on fucking one leg on like a tile board. We're trying to. It's crazy how life is. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I think this was a good one. I really like it. I feel as if you can understand what I'm saying that where your current thought processes are at today are due to past, and they're unprocessed. Get through those. Change your mindset. That's why there's things called this person has a closed mind and open mind. All right? I'll just end it there. That should sum up everything I've said if you paid attention.